All right, all right. Welcome back, my regular viewers, listeners, and watchers. And of course, if you happen to be here for the very first time, welcome. Before I go any further, my name is Rahul George, India's premier eye hypnosis coach and your personal guide. And I must say, a very warm welcome to the eye hypnosis coaching journeys. This is a podcast that has been literally drawn from inspiration for you, especially you as a digital coach and healer on your journey. I know I've been on this journey now for literally close to 2 decades, and I make it a point to bring some of the most amazing guests, people who are out there doing absolutely fantastic work. And um, today really kind of sets that bar extremely high, and I'm literally getting chills as I'm sharing this with you. I met this truly amazing human. Literally, was it 2019? So it's about 5 years now, 5 years give or take. And so before I formally, invite Niyati to come in, to step in, and to tell you a little bit about her story and her journey, I will share this with you. Um, I don't know if you have ever, felt or ever sat with somebody who is a winner, right? That was my introduction to Niyati way back in 2019. So I was attending this program, especially if you're a digital coach, you probably would have heard of the Millionaire Mind Intensive, the MMI, and this was like 2019. So pre-COVID, MMI used to run a certain way. And of course, I stepped back after lunch. I chose to sit in a different place. This is, by the way, a quick little tip. If you're attending these kind of seminars, make sure you sit in different places because you never know who you're going to meet. And so I sit in my chair, and there were two empty seats next to me. Two people came and sat down. I looked at the person looked at me, I smiled as I usually do, and the person smiled back. And the next thing I know, they were announcing, winners to the Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within, right? The UPW um, seminar, which was, I think, happening in Singapore, if memory serves me right. And as they're going down the list, they get to, okay, now we're going to announce, guess who has won the ticket, right? All expenses paid, if I remember correctly, or it was like a bonus, like a bumper bonus ticket. And there's this, from what I remember, there's this me. There's this person who's right next to me, who is literally the person who is sharing the screen with me today. So with that, and of course, I will close that loop as we go deeper into today's podcast. Incidentally, this is the sixth podcast. So if you haven't already caught some of the other episodes, please do. Without further ado, Niyati, welcome. And I will leave it to you to share a little bit about your story and who you are and how you got to be here. This is like the short version, and then of course we'll go deeper into it. So welcome.
So much, Rahul. This is one of the most personal introduction that I've had. I cannot forget that day. I think it is the way we met and the environment we were in. It was only meant to be skyrocketing from there.
Yeah,
Looking
yeah,
forward, meeting the right kind of people. And I think both of us are such kind of people where we manifest and our manifestation comes true.
yeah.
We attract very like-minded people. And I remember that exact moment. And I also remember the laugh, like when Rahul, yes,
Yes.
that one. When Rahul talks and he laughs from his heart. And I can never forget that laugh. And I had such a fantastic discussion with you. Should we do the further course ahead or no? And those long list of pros and cons. And finally, we both did it.
Yeah,
So, and the journey continues,
yeah.
exploring, diving, and all those long conversations we've had. We call it the coffee shots, even though the
Yes.
shots are very quick, but we've had the longest talks ever and helped each other big time into
True.
diving, understanding, exploring. And I cannot be any more grateful to the universe that you came into my life at a time when I needed the most. So thank you so much. for always being there. It truly
It's
meant a lot.
yeah. I like I've been, watching podcasts now for several years, and I didn't know what my podcast was going to be, but
Oh, loads and loads of hugs to you.
yeah, this is why these podcasts happen.
Yes,
It's like some of the most amazing people that I've met, and I'm really going to take my time with this one today.
it deserves it, right?
Yeah. So what I'm reminded of is the intention that we set before we went on today, right? To make it for other people, especially for digital coaches and healers who are out there who are they really they really put their heart on the line. They really live this that we get to live every single day. And I know in many, many ways, we've been extremely blessed to have seen the wave and hopped onto the wave before it's become what it is today, right? Like you talked about,
Absolutely.
being in programs, being like so deep in programs that it's like you're literally, one way is, let's say you decide to do an expedition and you walk and you trek and then you climb mountains and you change as a person. The other
Yes,
way is when you attend these really, really intensive workshops where you put yourself on the line, you allow yourself to be vulnerable and you grow. So, you know, and I know you know this, I'm sure you come across people like this pretty much every day who are in that early phase of, realizing that today, if you really want to make a difference, if you want to create a personal brand, if you want to be of value to other people, you got to put yourself first, and not in a selfish way. You got to recognize who you are and who you're changing into, because, and in a moment I'm going to ask you this question, but it's like who we are today and the people that we are, that we are speaking from, which is our own selves, compared to 2 years ago, 4 years ago, or even 5 years ago. It's like, not even, I won't even say chalk and cheese. It's like there are four people in the room, right? There were two of us who were then, and there are two of us who are here today, right? And I know, like, just looking at your expressions, I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. And my intention um, is to help people, especially digital coaches and healers who are on this journey, to see this, to listen to your story, to be moved by your story, because I know you're one of those, when you say pioneers, you truly are, right? And so let me start there, right? um, when we talk about, you know uh, I mean, in the US they call it sex ed, but when we talk about, you know um, sex education in India today versus 5 years ago versus 15 years ago versus 20 years ago, it's like, different worlds altogether, right? So um, I'd love for you to just share your journey, you know, who you are and what you're doing today, but more importantly, what were those, milestones, or what were those paths that you walked on to get
wow. So
here.
literally going 14 years back and 15 years back when
Yeah.
I began exploring, it just came to me,
Mm,
Sometimes you wait all your life wondering, what am I here for?
mm,
You do a lot of things. It's not like you're sitting idle. You're
mm.
earning your money, you're doing your stuff, you're putting
Yeah.
your heart into
Yeah.
the job that you're doing. But there is always this one reason that you're here for.
Mm.
And this is something that you're very good at.
Yeah.
And sex ed was not something that I was exposed to where
Mm.
I would find out that, oh, I'm good at this. It's not a field my parents would ask me to go and figure it out or give it a shot, And it all began because of the beautiful children I have.
Mm.
And they brought this in me like, okay, I always wanted to be that mother who wanted to be available for their children, for her children, and to say that whatever you need to ask, I'm right here. Even if I don't know something, I'll go figure it, but I am here. I want to be available to you. And that is where I think somewhere the universe brought me a mentor who said, who came into the school for a lecture and said,
Wow.
there is something called child sexual abuse. Do you know about it? Have you prepared your children for it?
Mm.
And I go like, oh my God, I will prepare my children, but
Mm.
let me understand this because this is what happened to me. So how could I, as a parent, not know that this is something I should have spoken to my child? My first child was already 6 years by then.
Mm.
And I had attended all parenting workshops. I was reading books. I was implementing all those tips and everything. I was a hands-on parent, and then when I realized that this is something I need to understand before I start speaking to my child, that's where my journey began as a parent, as a mom, where I wanted to tell my child that, you know what, this is something you need to be aware about.
Right.
Don't stop yourself from doing things and going places, but be aware and be ready for it. If something like this happens to you, what will you do?
Right.
Because when it happened to me, I was not out in the world. I was in my safe space at my home. So when it can happen to me in the safest space on this universe, what can I tell anybody? Like where should you be careful? So that is where it all began, and fortunately I was given this certificate to say that you can call yourself a trained sex educator, and I was like,
Wow.
what? 1 second, I can talk about this to other people. And
Wow.
I'd already started sharing my learning journey with my
Mm.
friends who were parents, and talking to my child's class
Mm.
parents and my friends and Nilesh's
Right.
friends and Nilesh, my husband. And
Mm.
we're talking, and I'm talking, and I'm talking. And that's where I realized people are even hesitant to listen to it.
Right.
And here I go like a bullet train talking about it, not even wondering or thinking, are they ready
Right.
to take it? I
Right.
was just talking. That's where a lot of people told me that you speak so effortlessly. Why don't you talk more? I was like,
Right.
more kya hota hai?
Mm.
Then I went back into the topics and I'm learning, and I was like, what would you like to know? What would you like to know? What would you like to know?
Wow.
And my journey began as, I won't call myself a trainer yet, but my journey began as somebody who started speaking on this topic and realized that whatever I learned, I would just take it in. It was natural to me. And I could naturally simplify it and bring it out back. So when you're reading books, when you're listening to people who are teaching you, they have a certain language, they have a certain way of speaking to you and teaching you. But I could simplify it and put it out to my friends and their children. So that was my second revelation, that not only I won't even call it fearless, I'm just comfortable with the topic.
Right.
I'm a natural with the topic,
Mm.
and I can also simplify it. So people were not feeling awkward when they were talking to me. And then friends, they said, okay, we want you to come and talk to my family. So all the cousins and their parents would come together. Oh, I have an older sibling who's in a different school. Talk to those
Right.
parents.
Okay.
And that's how smaller groups
Wow.
started happening. And
Wow.
I said, okay, I'll have to formulate this. I can't just go and give a satsang about this. So started bringing the points down.
Wow.
What is the flow I want to talk about? And if I want to say this, can I begin like this? How do I begin? Then how do I make it fun? Because I was a boring teacher. Then how do I make it fun? How do I present it visually? I don't only want to talk. How can I make it fun with the games? How do I involve parents? So
Right.
all the observations started coming in. How can children still feel open to talk to me and not fearing that my parents will
Right.
judge me if I say
Right.
something. So slowly, I started observing.
Mm.
I started incorporating,
Mm.
and that's how the journey began.
Wow.